Because, I mean, what we are all talking about is how do we minimise the harms from drugs? We all know that the harms are there and happen, but it's very largely due to lack of education and ignorance, isn't it?
Look at the struggle.
And prohibition, which causes that.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's where I feel that the science approach to altered states of consciousness is very valuable for advocacy and for changing the public's attitude. Because if they can actually understand what it does in the brain and how it helps therapy, I mean, the study we're doing in London on psilocybin is to look at how it changes blood circulation and how it gives access to repressed memories. So that if you can show, yes, look, it does make repressed memories easier to reach.
Yes, yes.
Then you've got and similarly the research that we're doing in California is looking at the change in brain waves and the association between different parts of the brain. To see, might it propitiate creativity by putting more original ideas together, and how does it help with creative thought, or indeed does it or not, kind of thing. So and then looking at blood circulation with the elderly, might it stimulate cerebral circulation to be healthier? And
there was one lecturer, and I don't remember his name, who presented diagrams of brain. He had no, it wasn't diagrams. It was photography showing brains on, without MDMA, and brains under the influence of MDMA, and the blood circulation increased immensely.
Well, that's exactly what.
That's extraordinary. And we thought that was going to be a breakthrough. But
no, no, there's a strong barrier against information which could give a positive. But so we have to keep feeding it into the system. And then suddenly there'll become a time when people are actually rather interested, and it will suddenly change. Things happen very quickly.
Well, when
very slowly.
But when they happen, then they can happen very quickly.
But teachers and professors should be so committed to truth, or what they believe in truth.
And it's the same in science. I mean, more so in science. Even, that should be the most objective subject. There's so much interference.
It really is amazing that here in England, although actually I know quite a lot of the most influential scientists, and they're on my scientific advisory board, and they think the research I want to do would be a good thing to do, they say that in their opinion one wouldn't get research, the approvals to do an LSD research in England.
The ethical approval.
Ethical approval. Which is fairly amazing when you think it's a non-toxic substance which has a history of being
there's so much mythology, and the politicians would probably say things like, I would give it to you in a minute, but I probably would lose the next election because the public would object to this sort of thing.
And I think that's what's beginning to happen now. There's beginning to be a more educated approach to teaching the public what's really true. I mean, like National Geographic has just done a program on the use of LSD, and it's slowly coming about a kind of more educated, intelligent approach to the subject.
It's taken a long time.
Taken 40 years, isn't it?
That's right.
It hasn't moved in 40 years.
I think it fits in with the kind of broader movement as well, the kind of environmental movement and everything. It's kind of, everyone's trying to take a more kind of holistic approach to... Everyone's appreciating that something about our society for the last 100 years has been slightly wrong, basically.
Yes, right.
And so they're kind
might say
of slightly more willing to question our traditional values now, it seems.
And it's our morality which hasn't advanced, isn't it, really?
Right,
And that's what hopefully these substances can help us see further in those areas.
It's an extremely complex business, and the one thing you have to employ is patience.
Yes.
And you just can't get impatient about this.
Yes. Yes.
If we achieve just, an inch
Yes.
at a time, at least eventually we'll achieve.
And one of the great damages, in a sense, is calling the word drugs, isn't it? To put the psychedelics in the same overall category,
right, as cocaine,
and heroin, and methamphetamine,
right.
When no one has ever become addicted to a psychedelic. I mean, animals don't give themselves. Well, they do sometimes, don't they? They do.
There are two exceptions to that. Ketamine can be very dangerously addictive to some people.
Yes.
And marijuana for some
Can
people is habituating.
Yes.
Not addictive.
Yes.
But habituating.
Right. And because of prohibition is becoming much more so, because the criminal effect is to make it get stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
It always does.
Yeah.
For things illegal.
Yes,
stronger.
right.
And that's causing more harm than the old-fashioned softer.
That's why I'm so happy to hear about Mexico's decision.
Isn't that
and
wonderful?
let's just hope that they have the courage to maintain it.
And I think Latin America is really where the hope is, because they can see what damage it's doing to their culture. The kind of nostrils of the American continent, or whatever.
Yeah, they can see what the war on drugs has done to the United States.
Yeah.
The whole thing has become totally corrupted.
And Latin America, Mexico has more murders than Iraq.
Yeah. It finally dawned on somebody, maybe all these cartels would fade away if we legalize some of this.
Yes.
I mean, it's so obvious. It's so obvious.
It is. Yeah. And to think, so much of the world doesn't have painkillers. Because there's no heroin. Why not let the countries which can grow opium grow it, sell it legally, control it?
Yeah, instead of letting the Taliban have control of the opium crop, or still treating it as a forbidden substance, whereas, good Lord, without the blessings of the opium poppy, civilizations would have...
Yes. I mean, from our viewpoint, it's madness, isn't it? And one can't believe that slowly we can't kind of...
Yeah. It's really a schizophrenic sort of thing.
Another interesting thing relating to that was what I was reading from Transform about how, say, a heroin addiction for someone causes much more crime to society than an alcoholic addiction, for example, because due to the prohibition of heroin, the habit is so expensive and unaffordable that they're forced to resort to acquisitive crime to fund their habit, whereas an alcoholic can live fairly cheaply. So crime relating to alcohol isn't really an issue, whereas to heroin it is this massive, and crack and everything like that. And if prohibition wasn't there, it would still be terrible, all this addiction, but at least it wouldn't it wouldn't be going beyond that and becoming an issue of acquisitive crime as well.
Former President Jimmy Carter said something, I think we got it in our book, and I hope I get it right. The punishment for a drug crime should not do more damage than the drug itself.
Yes.
And of course, the punishment in some states of the United States is lifetime in jail.
Ah, yes.
It's incredible.
It's horrific. Yeah.
And I think that we have more people in jail for drug offences than anyone. Is it anyone else in the world or any other country?
I think so. Yes.
It's anyone else.
And I think it's 750 arrests, 750,000 arrests for cannabis a year in the United States. I mean,
we hold records in this area.
Records. We have more people in jail, don't you, per percentage of the population.
Yeah, 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's incarcerated population.
Really?
Yes.
was quite impressive.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
And that's depressing.
Though still, it's time for a change.
Yes, right.